Yeah.
NCAA 14 or NCAA revamped. We're in the dynasty mode, and I've been talking to you. You got your guys at JMU. It was rough in the beginning, but it looks like you guys it's looking up right now, right?
Yeah, so we finished the season, that would be 11-2 last season. We were 11-0, hosted Florida, and lost a heartbreaker 56-49. We had like 4 turnovers, brought it back in the end, just couldn't get the onside kick. So what I'm doing is I do a home and home. Yeah. And then if it's 1-1 after that, then I'll do a neutral site game year 3.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
So I lost that game to Florida. Was the 4th seed going into conference championship weekend. I beat up on Southern Alabama. Obviously. 1 seed Georgia lost to 6 seed Oklahoma, and Army was 2 seed. 3 seed Miami lost to like 11 seed Clemson, I want to say.
Okay.
And so I thought we would hop in and play Army.
Right.
Oklahoma jumped us beating the number 1 team, which I was like, okay. Looking at that, like, that it sucks, but it is what it is. So then it was just like, whatever, bowl game, don't care. Like, played Baylor in the Sugar Bowl, but I just simmed it, I lost. Yeah. And then started the season just outside the top 25. I started off with Florida week 2. Went to the Swamp.
Yeah.
Lost another heartbreaker.
No.
51-48.
No.
They hit a last-second field goal as time expired to win it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So lost that series 0-2. It's done. I'm kind of glad to be done with Florida.
Yeah.
Had a home and home with TCU. Beat them last year. Won pretty convincingly this year, 41-24. Ended that home and home. And then my other home and home. So what I do is I'll just go to one of my open weeks, and I'll just, however many FBS teams are there, I don't include the FCS ones. I just tell Siri to give me a number between 1 and however many teams there are, and that's the team I get. Yeah. So my other home and home was Ohio from last season into this season.
Okay.
I beat them 56-7 this year. That one's over.
Right.
My other home and home, the randomizer chose it, is Army. So
but this is number 1 ranked Army, right?
The reigning national champion Army Knights. They're currently ranked 6th going into week 6.
Yeah.
I'm 3-1, ranked 20th in the country now.
Yeah.
I play them this week.
Oh.
So after this show's done, I'm going to play them and see how I can do. But yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun rebuilding them. They were a 1-star school. Now I think I'm up to a 4-star.
Okay.
So recruiting's getting easier. Had a top 5, top 10 class last year. So rebuild's going well.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Hey, shout out to the Dukes of JMU, who actually, from where we live in Virginia, or where I live, where Will grew up, that's about 2 hours out from us. So Will had some time over there. I spent some time out there. 60-40 female to male ratio. Love that place. Yeah. But yeah. Get as far as Army, get prepared to expand that option.
Yeah. And my run defense hasn't really been tested because I've been high powered offense again this year. So my running defense is like 15th in the country, but it's because teams have had to pass so early that we'll see how it goes.
Right. It's just like watching paint dry. It's just like dive, option, dive, and you're like, I got them all these downs, and all of a sudden they break one for 50, and it's just like it's all for naught. Here we go.
Yeah, running a lot of a 4-4 defense.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Linebackers crashing interior. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I too am with a what started off as a 1 or 2-star team in Temple out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Had my guy that I recruited my first year. He was an 80 athlete, Spencer Hamilton. Came in, balled out, did all this great stuff. Since we play in the American Conference, those, I get the South Floridas, the FAUs, the teams that aren't that great. So once we started building up the teams, we started to run over those. But like you, there's those first couple weeks where you're playing the SEC, the Big Ten, and all that. So
yeah,
I had a couple stints. We played in Ole Miss this past year. I was able to get the dub, but the year before we played, I think it was like Georgia or something, and it wasn't even pretty. Like by halftime, like I was on like my third quarterback. One got hurt, and the second one was just atrocious. So I go for the third one, who has like a 89 speed and acceleration. So all we're doing is running options. We're dropping back, letting everybody get deep, and then just juking out the sometimes a QB contained guy. If I can get past him, which isn't as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
He'll carve parallel with you, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I should have been able to get past this guy.
Especially when you're playing in Georgia and Alabama, like where they've got 90 speed guys everywhere.
Exactly. So finally was able to get over the hump. Like I said, this past year was able to beat Ole Miss. I think we had to I think we played an ACC like a Georgia Tech or somebody like that, able to beat them. Then obviously started off, I believe 24th, was able to get through unscathed in the regular season. Obviously we got to championship weekend. We don't have a championship game, so we were ranked 5th, and it just, we were never able to move up. And we also had a 6-6. Who was it? It was UConn. And obviously that thing was over by halftime. I think it was like 35-0. Like we were just running all. They just don't have a good team. And it just didn't help. It didn't help us. I told you about my quarterback, Spencer Hamilton. He was on this, finally getting recognition. He's up here on this Heisman run, and then 2 weeks out from the end, 2 or 3 weeks out of the regular season, he breaks his leg. Comes back in the game right before championship weekend, has a balls out, dominates, does all that stuff, and then it didn't help. I mean, he was able to move up at least like second or third in the Heisman, but it doesn't matter. He left. This year, Alex, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to replace the production of my guy.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah. So I went to, formation subs, and I got like 3 or 4. I got 3 quarterbacks, my top 3 quarterbacks in at some way, shape, or form. Like I got one guy that's goal line, one guy that's getting all my deep passes, and then one that's just my interior option guy, which is good. But then on the other side, you're not getting no one guy is getting major stats.
Yeah, so, you're not going to get a Heisman or any like. You're not going to build a guy into a draft prospect, anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So part of me is like, man, because one of the guys is an athlete. Part of me is like, man, maybe I need to switch him to wide receiver or something like that. But we're winning games, albeit against, like I said, the FAUs, UConns, and stuff like that. But it's still kind of, you want your guy. You want the one guy. Like I had Spencer for 4 years. He was my guy until he got hurt. So you really notice that drop off. Like there's a gap between what he was at that point to where we are now. So,
well, I had a 98 overall quarterback, Jason Graham, who last year won the Heisman.
Yes,
and he was like backup, and then it was just like his senior season was finally his turn to play. Yep. I was like, okay, let's see what we got in him, and man, did he ball out! And then this year, my backup from last year turned into a 92 this year. Ooh, but it's just like something's off.
Yep.
Like there's times where I'll turn to my 78 overall redshirt freshman because he plays better at certain points. Like it's basically. Just I miss Graham. For sure.
Oh yeah. And it's not just that quarterback. I also had this wide receiver named Masterson that was just, fly. I would put him in the slot. He was a bigger guy, and just put him on that nickel and just go fly routes and just kind of throw it over top. When Hamilton had it, where he can loop it over there. Yeah. Now with these other guys, like I don't have a Masterson, so I have a decent crop of receivers, mid 70s type. I have one guy that's like an 82 or something like that. Yeah. But they just don't have the speed or acceleration. They can't separate from guys. So passes that like were just, the guy had a step. Masterson had a step on the guys a year ago. Now they're contested. I have thrown a lot more interceptions. It's a struggle, man.
Yeah, well, and that's gonna be me next year because like I've got all the speed I could want at receiver, like tons of 94, 95, 96 speed. But I only have the one guy, like Gabriel Johnston for me is a senior this year, and he's 6'5" with that 94 speed.
Ooh.
Like he's Calvin Johnson out there.
Right,
like,
right.
And he's a senior, so he's gone next year.
Oh,
and then I think my next biggest receiver I've got is like 6 foot. So I don't have that big outside guy. I just gotta hope that everyone just burns by somebody to get that. I don't got a jump ball guy next year, so it's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah, I'm starting a true freshman. Okay, literally, he was like number 1 or 2 wide receiver. I was able to get him, but I'm like, you got to start now. Like we don't, we cannot afford unless we're gonna run the option all day. We cannot afford to have anybody else in. So I mean, hey, he's doing a little bit, but like I said before, we have 3 quarterbacks. Each guy may have his dip favorite. One of my tight ends are getting a lot of love. It's just we're winning, but I'm a stats guy, so I just want build it out. I look at the Heisman every single week, and I'm like, no, we're not in it this week. We're not in it this week. All right.
For me, especially being such a big offensive line guy, my offensive line is young, and it's still like I got a couple guys that are in the 80s, but the rest is high 70s, so it's been a struggle because I'll sit there and like the deep pass develops, but when I'm playing Florida and TCU and they've got those very good defenses, it's like I want to launch the ball down the field and get those chunk plays, but I got to sit and take those short passes because I don't got the time to let the deep pass develop. Like, it's so frustrating.
I find myself watching the instant replay more because when I'm playing quarterback, I'm really kind of looking downfield. And then all of a sudden, you just get smacked. And you're like, what happened? He was open. What happened? And I find myself looking at the instant replay like, number 57. Like, my guard. Like, what are you doing? And the guy just spin moves around him.
I will scream at my TV if it's just like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, it's double team and he'll just like slide right through. I'm like, guys, come on. Like,
right.
I am like yelling, and most of the time it's either at my quarterback or my offensive line right now. Like that's what it is. The rest of my team, I'm like, okay, you're good.
Right,
it's quarterback and offensive line.
Well, with me, my position is running back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's a lot of times where they'll have the running back do like the little fake block and then a run out. I'll sit here and change the route to just blocking, and then he'll sit there. And it's like the guy's coming off the corner, and you just see him like go around him, and I'm like, step in his way, do something. And you just see the replay with the lineman and the running back both looking down at the quarterback, and the slamming the ball down. Like, what are you doing? Oh man. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we might have another show in an NCAA 14 Dynasty mode. We might need to get Will on and just do this because I can talk about this. I know you can talk about it for days.
Oh, yeah.
So I love it.